This is The Poddy with Serene and Pearl. Get it right, Poddy.
It's a happy day on the hilltop, and I'm here with the gals who really folded on that last intro. I wasn't here, and what I learned is that you'll never probably fire me.
So you went back and listened, or did you watch the YouTube?
He just listened to the intro. That's all he cares.
Yeah, I want to know that.
Who is going to intro your podcast if not me? Like, who?
It
That
is
was
true. I really
bad.
flunked. I did an F.
I flunked that.
I mean,
worse.
all you got to do is be like, welcome, we're back, we're
I
glad you're
know.
listening. I mean, there is like a myriad.
I felt like
Okay,
a
but I
faker.
want to know, did you watch the YouTube or
I watched it on YouTube.
And when did you stop? Just right after the intro, or you listened to the whole thing and learned a thing or two?
No, I didn't listen to the whole thing. I got through I got to the point where you introed your bud.
Okay.
Cool hat, great hat.
Yeah. KJ's awesome.
And then yeah, I was just so upset is the word I would describe. And I
Yeah.
couldn't watch anymore.
Because the poddy was less than it could have been if you'd been there.
It wasn't like beepity beep 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 beep. Like that's what I want.
But Danny,
Yeah.
there are 3 seats
Three
in
seats.
this little nook, and you're going to have to make another seat if we have a guest now, and put yourself
So-
sit right here.
If we have a guest though, we do have to solve that problem.
Yeah, we got to solve a
He
problem.
can't sit there. His head won't. He could sit right here in the middle.
But the intro is
On the
going
coffee
long,
table.
so
Well, bring us something.
I'm going to bring you something.
You got something.
My voice is a little cold-ish, but I'm walking out of it.
Are you in here
and it's
sick?
No, I'm not sick.
She's
Yeah,
not
right.
contagious.
I had
That's
a
what
little
everybody
slight
says.
bit of a cold, and I'm walking out of it.
That's what everybody says until like
No, I'm actually, I rarely get them, and when I get them, I just like,
Well, it's been a while for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to shout out today to all our first gen crunchies. And I would say most of you listening, probably the majority of you, are first gen crunchy. And I want to talk about what that means, the impact it could have, and just opening your mind today with how this is just not going to be about you.
first gen crunchy. You mean like your mom wasn't crunchy, but you have
You're the
become
first
Exactly what I mean.
generation.
Serene and I, a third gen
Yeah,
crunchy,
you
and I'm
guys
going
are
to tell a story
deep.
about that today. Art and Serene's son sitting over right there right now producing, now that producer
He's
John's gone.
fourth gen.
Fourth gen. My children are fourth gen. And
Wow.
I see this incredible thing happening. Now, my daughter Meadow, I have grandchildren, they're fifth gen. They're growing up
Yep.
in the ways of knowledge of health, and they care. Now, not everybody, like I'm not saying, your first gen or your children are going to be just like you and they're going to embrace it.
But train them up in the way they should go. It's
Yeah.
scripture in the Bible. When they're old, they won't depart.
When
It's
they're old,
scripture.
but not when they're teens.
Sometimes they'll have a little rebellion.
Yeah.
But they do come back.
Yeah.
Some more than others.
Some
And
don't rebel at all.
Right. I've got super crunchies in my offspring,
Yeah.
and I've got some
That
like
has surpassed you.
way more crunchy than me. Like they're serene crunchy level, right?
Maybe more.
Maybe more.
More?
And then I've got some like my noble. Thankfully, he married a wife that just makes him nice, good home cooked meals because he didn't catch it yet.
Yeah.
But
Anytime's a good time
I'm
for a
just
banana.
so glad.
Like as if on cue, we're talking about like healthy
No, I
eating.
had quarter eaten on the way
But
over
guess
here.
what? Never give up
planned
on your
it.
children because Noble's working out now.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to get it. I'm holding hope. But, okay. So today I just want to go back and I want to tell a story about why we're sitting here, why you're even here on the potty, Dan.
Tell the tale.
Why you guys are listening
to go
in.
to our nana's and we'd go on an excursion with her, like a
Yeah.
little outing. She would buy us bananas and talk to us how they were gold. I didn't even
Yes.
plan on eating that and talking about it, but it's just, remember that?
Okay.
She talked like this is a Skittles in
Well,
your hand.
you kind of stole my thunder, but it was beautiful. I'm glad you brought that. You should have brought it at a later time, but it's our nana. So our nana, no, I'm good. I'm talking. Our nana was
Thank you, no.
first gen. Now,
Your nana? You talking about your mom?
no, our nana.
That's a
Our
grandma?
mum's mum.
Yeah.
Okay.
So our nana is the reason we are sitting here today
looks like
talking
Pearl.
about health food. It's the reason you have a potty to be on. That
She was
talks about
married to the
health.
sheep herder.
Yes,
Okay.
the sheep shearer.
I don't know if I
So
met her.
we don't know why our Nana decided to be healthy, but all I ever remember with her is having, she's the most amazing woman, but just health conversations about the goodness of food. And she loved food. She was a
She
foodie.
loved research too.
So
She was like
interesting.
one of those original, I don't know where she got the books, but her bookshelves were lined with the health books of the time. And every night she'd be reading, she'd read her Bible, but she'd be reading a health book. So we grew up always, going to our nanas, and we got this passion for health books.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it started in our Nana's kitchen. Nana would bake bread, and she'd always be baking something healthy, and she'd be, growing a garden. Many people had a garden back then. But back then, in our Nana's day, everyone was into sugar and white flour too, the dainties and all of that. But Nana thought that was just terrible for your health. I don't know how she knew
had
it.
millet porridge every morning for breakfast and dandelion root coffee. Do you
Yes.
remember that?
And you don't know her influences?
We don't know. I wish I could go back and ask her. And we need to ask our mum about that. How could she,
Her mother died of cancer.
yes.
And she was raised by a grandmother. Know
It
that.
probably had a lot to do with it.
Maybe that. But in that day, they didn't really know
Correlate
sugar
stuff.
was.
Yeah.
They didn't. Hey, in that day, they thought smoking was good for you, right? They used to tell pregnant women to smoke.
And formula
Really?
was better than breast
Yes.
milk in that day.
How did
That's
she know
wild.
these things? But she intrinsically knew. And she taught us. All of us grandchildren, we were influenced by her. Our mother was influenced by her. So
Everything though.
yeah.
It wasn't just what she ate, it's what she put on her body. She would make rinses for her hair
Yes.
out of sage leaves and herbs, and in her kitchen would be all kinds of concoctions for her body and for, not just internally.
This is literally you.
Yeah, she's hilarious.
Hair concoctions and such.
So she influenced our mom, right? So mum was second generation crunchy, and
Like, we grew up, we never had bread brought from the store. We never had granola brought from the store. We never had yogurt brought from the store. It was all homemade from her.
yeah, so we, we'd go to school, and our friends would have like nice white bread sandwiches, and ours would be like these.
Let's be
Chunks
specific.
of
Vegemite
bread.
chippy sandwiches, white bread, butter,
In Australia.
Vegemite Lay's potato chips,
I don't know
And
if they were
crud-
Lay's.
whatever. But they
Brand.
were the Kringles, the little things with the thrills,
Yep,
and that's what everybody ate for lunch in Australia,
or a meat pie.
or a meat pie. Yes,
What's a meat
we
pie?
had brick bread that was so heavy. I mean, it makes my bread look like fairy fluff, right? And salad from the night before stuffed in it that
Oh.
had been a little bit softened by the dressing that had been in it since the night before.
Night before salad.
Oh, mate.
But
It was hard.
it was tough at the time, and I used to long. And you said, "What's a meat pie?" And it's an Australian famous kind of traditional food. It's pastry and mincemeat and gravy in it. It's delicious, not at all good for you because that white pastry is just so.
I can't even remember having one.
Oh no! Well, you see, you started your crunchiness early. So, but back then it was kind of difficult. I used to kind of be rebellious in my heart a little bit. I love my mum's foods, and she'd cook a great meal every night. But when I went to school, I longed.
But didn't you have
For
good
that
healthy
junk
breakfast
stuff.
too at house? At the
Yeah,
house?
I'd had a good healthy
Millet.
breakfast at home. Millet porridge, or she'd make us whole grain pancakes. They were the two things, or eggs, poached eggs. We had 3 breakfasts. So we never, ever, ever, ever do not remember once having cereal
Did
brought
we have
packaged
juice
cereal.
in the house? Never.
Drink
Grape
water.
juice from communion, from church left over.
Yeah, because
But
we
there
were
could
pastors'
be a
kids.
cockroach in it, so you wouldn't try it because the fruit juice would attract the cockroaches. In Australia, you have flying cockroaches, and if the fridge was open for more than 5 seconds,
But all that to say, if it sounds tough, it really wasn't. I mean, I look back and I'm so grateful for my crazy crunchy nana, and then my crazy crunchy mum, and yes, because we kind of got influence in the ways of health, and we started our own journey of health books became our thing, right?
and it wasn't just food; it was exercise too.
Yes.
Wasn't our nana called the something train, the freight train of what was
Yes.
it called? The speed train of.
Speed train walker or something.
'cause
So she was
walked everywhere. Everyone in the town knew of her.
okay.
as the
So our
walker.
nana, and it wasn't just she was in fantastic health. Now, granted, she didn't have the knowledge then that we do now of ample protein. I mean, she couldn't restore her hormones back then. In the end, she passed away in her late 80s of osteoporosis because, you know, that's what happens to women as they lose their hormones. They lose their bone mineral density. She didn't know about protein. She didn't know about weight training. She didn't know about lifting heavy things. She only knew what she knew, and she was a walker. But do you remember this, Serene? We used to go and stay with our Nana, and she's like, today we're going to go help the old people. That was her hobby. She would go help old people. Well, our mum, we didn't understand. We were just like going with her to help the old people in the old home. She was older than them. Yes, so she would go to help the old people. But she was like, you know, she was getting into her late 70s, and a lot of them were just like, you know, they just were kind of crippled in their late 60s, and she would just go to help them through their day. And you know, our grandfather, because our Nana was just making so many healthy foods, she fueled him, and he was the
youngest of all of the Bowen boys.
No, he was the oldest, Serene.
No, he
But he lived the longest.
That's right. He was the oldest and he lived the
So
longest.
there were several boys, maybe 9 of them. How many were there?
It was a lot.
There's a large family, and all of them, you know, none of them really cared about diet. Their wives didn't. They all, you know, passed away of the basic diseases.
Diabetes.
We all
I remember
pass
Uncle
away
Ian,
from.
he had to have
They
his legs
always had
chopped
gout.
off.
Many of them had diabetes. Our grandfather never experienced any of them, and the reason is because of our Nana.
Yeah.
It's what she fed him, and you know, he lived into his 90s. At 92, he jumped out of a plane. And
83rd birthday, he bungee jumped.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you were about to like
He would
share
have
his
lived-
death.
No, he used
It's
to
like,
do
what?
every year. He used to try to do something adventurous.
And he would have lived way longer. But you see,
Yeah.
It's a long story. But he had a problem from when he in his 20s, and he never got it fixed, and it was a bladder
prostate
issue. Yeah,
But he lived into his 90s. But
he never dealt with it in his 20s.
all of that to say, she was a first gen, and something inside her made her flip a switch to be healthy and to feed her family's health, for her family healthy, and to pass it along to her future generations. And we're sitting here today because of her.
Oh, totally because of her.
And, you know, I want to pass that along if you're listening. This is not just you struggling with trying to stay on plan, or you having a battle with Dunkin' Donuts when you drive past it. This is you, whether you see it or not, and you may not see it. It's going to impact your children, your grandchildren. They're going to watch you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can change generations. You can be that one. You know, you hear of families like, and it was like many of them had poverty, and then one, you know, goes to college, or one does something and it changes everything.
You are oftentimes what is your environment around you. You don't have to be. You can be the one that changes, but oftentimes you're just the fruit of what's around you. I mean, I go to the Dixon Walmart. People look different
where we live.
in Dixon Walmart than they do in Franklin Walmart.
Right.
They look different, but it's just because of their lifestyle, their health lifestyle.
They do.
You know, they put Coca-Cola in their babies' bottles, and many
Dixon.
people do. And it sounds racist to Dixon. I'm just saying.
It's not even racist.
This is getting taken out. Okay, just
No,
cut.
it's not.
No, it is. You can't say they put Coca-Cola in babies' bottles.
Not
Dixon.
everybody.
I think you can. I think you can say it.
Okay, just
Listen
we'll
to
have
other
an argument.
podcasts.
We'll
It's-
have our argument on
The podcast is the safe space to be politically incorrect.
Listen,
We're not on
okay,
the
so I'll
radio.
just continue.
It's on
I'll just
I
TV.
have not seen. Okay, but keep
No,
going.
not everybody. Okay, many people.
But
are like
99% of Dixon
Look at
people.
JD. He grew up.
JD
in Dixon,
lives in
Hickman
Dixon.
County. How,
JD.
How true is
Is she
this?
lying?
How
Is she-
true?
no, she's
She's
not.
not lying.
She's not lying.
Many people are like us. They live out in Dixon because there's country and there's
Yeah.
land, and they
It's
can
about
do their big
99%,
gardens,
right?
right? But there
it's
are
not.
some people that I do you know why I know? Because I look at their carts and they have babies, and I look at their carts
And they have
It's
bottles
so
in those carts
judgmental.
and,
and
there's-
Coke.
and the color is not white in the
It's-
bottle.
It's okay, folks.
Okay, but I'm just
All your
trying
letters
to
go
say,
to Serene, not me.
no, but what I'm trying to say
It's
is
Mountain Dew. It ain't. Tell them.
You know,
He knows.
oftentimes people come to us at Trim Healthy Mama and say, well, it's just all I knew. I grew up on canned food. I grew up on Pop-Tarts. It's just all we knew. I didn't even think about it. But see, you can be the one. Now you've got the knowledge. Now you have been given this seed. It's not for yourself.
Even in
It's
Dixon.
for the future. It's for the future generations.
Yeah.
And so you can change that environment so that the ones growing up after you, they're just like, well, you know, I was given this awesome information, and because of that, I'm different. And it's kind of what we wanted to do when we called the latest book, when we had one of our nieces start to, you know, extend the the cookbooks, and she took over Rashida for that cookbook. We call it Trim Healthy Future. We're passing the baton on. But the whole theme there is it's not a trim healthy just present. It's all about a trim healthy future, not just for you, but for your family.
Dan,
Hey.
I would call you a first gen crunchy.
Yeah, I'm first gen. Yeah.
So-
I'm crunched out. I don't identify as a crunchy person. I identify as a Lucky Charms eater.
Right.
in
I know,
reality,
but in
I'm
reality, you're
crunch.
crunchy. Now, I don't identify as a crunchy too, but in reality, we are. What is a crunchy person? Crunchy person cares about health. You care about eating foods from the
Yeah.
earth. So therefore, you're crunchy. Let's just say what it is.
Food
But
from
I
the
want to
earth.
hear from you.
You identify as food from the earth guy, though. That rings a bell with you.
Yeah, for sure.
You just don't identify as somebody who sprouts their own granola.
Yeah, it's just the community. I'm always like, I don't subscribe to the pages and follow and like and
Why?
No, but you don't have to. But you see, you are first gen. You've changed. You've cut something off
Yeah.
and changed it.
yeah.
Sorry. I went to raise my hand. Not you. It was like, ooh, that was weird.
That's always fun
It's
with
not my
strangers.
husband's arm. It was like, ooh,
That's fun with strangers on the airplane, you know?
Oh yeah, it is.
foreign flesh.
But
Feels weird.
but Lisa, your wife too, is she first gen crunchy?
Yeah, she was there before me too. Like
Yes,
I
she
I
was.
didn't get into it. I mean, we were married 15 years before I started
Oh,
hosting.
honey. I have some stories when you were at the Hilltop and went to the Hilltop Church.
Yeah.
And I've told it before on the potty, but your wife
No, same
took our
difference.
mother
She's my
aside and asked for prayer and
No.
wisdom on
Pray
how
for
to
Danny.
feed Danny the Pop-Tart addict. I remember sitting there.
I can't take it!
It was an hour-long, serious.
Hide me behind the microphone. It's so funny.
Danny was on the prayer list for his Pop Tart.
This is I never knew this.
No, it was quite serious.
That
Like she was sharing from her heart of concern.
could we take 5 seconds of silence just for my life? That is too good. I'm probably peaking the levels.
So
Sorry,
look
guys.
what God has done, Danny.
Look what the Lord has done. Look at me now, hosting a health podcast,
Okay, but what?
talking about macros.
Well, let's talk about your children.
Let's talk about my kids.
Okay.
Hey, here's the thing. Here is the thing. I find it way harder now to allow unhealthy eating habits in my house. I think it's the Valdez brain wiring. Everybody's a psycho when they're spiking and crashing, and it's
right,
way too much.
Yeah.
It is way too much. My daughter, way too young, she cussed me out.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
And was that after sugar?
Typically, there's some metabolic fallout. When she's hungry, absolutely. She becomes a little agent of Lucifer, and a little tail sprouts, and she gets her little pitchfork, and she hunts me through the house. I mean, she's nasty. Ansley, one day when you watch this, you can apologize to Daddy. Yeah, it's really hard to not eat right. I find like the whole obstacle for a lot of people of eating right, eating earth food, is like, oh, the prep and the thought. But for me, I pay such a high price, I feel, when my family's not eating right, and it's palpable. I mean, you have a bad day.
You know, because Serena and I, even though I am calling myself crunchy, really I'm the drive-through soup crunchy version of Serene, even though I've got more purity in my ways, just because out of love, not out of pressure. As I've adopted more amazing superfoods into my life, I feel more amazing, and so they've just become a natural part. But Serene, you kind of didn't ever allow any junk in your home, apart from at Christmas, and then they were allowed some organic sugar things in their stocking, right, Harden?
Somehow when it came from Whole Foods,
Yeah, it
you
was
know,
like, all right.
It somehow my brain was like, it's, being prayed over by the
Yeah,
By the Whole Foods people.
yeah.
I was about to say
Police.
something totally politically incorrect,
Oh,
so I'm glad I
dang it.
caught
I'm
myself.
so glad.
Dang it.
I'm
Poor
so
Teddy would
glad.
have loved it. Pearl would have fired me, and I
Ugh.
never would have been able to return.
But my
But
home.
fill in the blanks, people, if you can fill in the
no,
blanks.
let's not.
I always try to breathe into that, because it's like when I see Serene about to go, it's like I have like fork and knife. I'm just like, give me that steak.
Oftentimes when I go to Whole Foods, yes,
Okay, so anyway, it was kind of my thing.
Okay.
So you didn't have sugar, but from that one time in the Christmas stocking, I wasn't as strict with my children, but I didn't like, there wasn't candy all the time, but my husband would take my children to McDonald's sometimes, and definitely not as strict as you, but we grew up in a Whole Foods home. They were having eggs and toast for breakfast or oatmeal, or they had their whole grain brown rice pasta or whole wheat noodles at lunch, and their brown rice and all of that, their beans and Whole Foods. But we weren't like super strict. And now I'm looking at the results of our children, and we both, let me see about your children. All of them crunchy. I'm trying to figure out if all of them are crunchy.
Arden is Arden's
super
very,
crunchy.
very, very, he's the oldest biological, and he is he has his own whole
He's a
idea of
macros
it.
guy.
No,
Okay.
but he's not just a macros guy. He's a purist.
He's a clean,
He
purist
likes,
macro.
he's foodie, so he loves food. He loves great experiences of food. So he's not like, he just doesn't care if it tastes like dirt. He wants it to taste great, but he cares about the health of it,
Yeah.
not just the macros. Because it's
Andy,
macros
cold
people, and
plunges.
it's like all proteins are alike, all carbs are alike.
You've got a lot of
Yep.
children, so
Okay,
this is going to
but-
take a while.
Yeah, but Chalice, she's very,
know.
very, very
She's
pro
super
healthy.
crunch.
Cherish has become more so. She's a soul food eater, but she really
I'd
cares.
call
She
Cherish
cares. She doesn't eat sugar.
on her way.
Yeah, she doesn't eat sugar though.
Yeah.
She wouldn't stop at fast food. She doesn't drink
Right.
pop. Breezy's like a health psychopath.
Psycho.
Cedar is very. He makes his own salads. Chipotle is his treat.
Right?
Yeah. He drinks breast milk lattes for goodness sake.
Hold on.
His wife
Hold
just had
on.
a baby.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Danny,
His
you
wife
didn't
just
pick
hold.
that
Have
up.
you had those
She
huckers?
said he drinks breast milk lattes.
Okay, there's huckers that you stick on the breast on the other side.
What?
Listen. You know how you
Look at Arden's face.
You-
Mike is like,
Okay,
I just
so
don't know if I should
just
be listening to
listen,
this.
just let me explain the
Ugh.
PG version. Let me explain the PG version. These days, it's a
JD's
new
like, I believe
invention.
everybody ought to
Back
have a
in
little
our
breast
days-
milk.
Back in our day, you breastfed on one side, you stick a sheet on the other to catch all the breast milk first baby, right? So
I
much
used
breast
nursing
I
milk.
believe in
pads,
breast
yeah.
milk.
Okay, you did nursing pads, but these days they're
I
all
support
cool
it.
about it, and they have this little suction cup that collects all the drops from the other side, so that you don't have to pump, and
He's
you have
hiding.
extra milk, right?
Yeah.
For when give away to the poor.
Hey,
Well, Cedar's like, what are we going to do with this extra breast milk? She's like, I don't know, we might need it one day. His wife says this.
Cedar has a
And he's
baby, by
like,
the way.
But it looks great. If I drink cow's milk, this is more suited for a human. Why don't I try it in my coffee? So he was having like cold lattes as to not wreck the
Serene.
great.
Cedar was drinking. Okay, hold on.
He was drinking
one
the
minute.
excess.
Cedar
He's a
was drinking
crunchy.
his wife's breast milk in his coffee.
welcome to the hilltop.
I have no part of
Drink
this.
your wife's breast milk on the
Hey, it
hilltop.
just seems so normal
Actually,
to
they
me.
don't live in Florida now.
Yeah,
They're
they're all
taking
trendy and cool.
They're exporting
They have the
hilltop
trendy-
ways.
Cedar okay.
They have the trendy huckers. They don't just
I'm
have the
touching
like.
your
the
arm. Is Cedar okay with you sharing this on the potty?
He put it out on his jolly Facebook. He was
Oh.
making it live.
He made breast milk
No,
lattes from
no.
his wife's breasts.
He wasn't showing the breast.
No,
he was
but
showing
he,
the latte.
but as an like an influencer would like show you that
wouldn't
ooh
know what to
making
do. I
coffee
don't
with
know
my
what to do.
kiddos.
Okay, so this is how what
This
happens
potty.
when you.
Is this PG?
Okay, let me tell you
Yeah,
about
it's
my
good.
children. Okay,
Yeah, we're
so
good.
Christmas time, my
Let's hear it.
husband was a
That's
painter at the
beyond
time.
crunchy.
Shush.
Yeah.
My husband was a painter at the time. Remember
This
when
is munchy.
Before
This
Trim
isn't
Healthy?
crunchy.
Before Trim Healthy, right? So my husband did painting, did construction, whatever.
I did
Remember?
with him.
Danny did it with him.
It's right there.
Anyway, so he went in town like a few days before Christmas. Was this with you, Arden? And was it Cedar and Chalice or you and Chalice? Okay, so Cedar and Chalice. So he takes the children in. He's picking up a few checks so he can buy Christmas presents, right? And some lovely lady of the home that he just painted gave him donuts. And he thought, we don't really eat them, but I'll just say thank you, fantastic. He took them back to the car, and he's thinking, what the heck? It's 2 days before Christmas. My wife's not here. She doesn't need to know. I'll offer my children a donut.
This is your husband.
Yes.
Okay.
So we offer Cedar, I thought it was Arden, but apparently not, Cedar and Chalice a donut. And they don't want to take it. They're like, no, we can't take it.
That's because
we don't
they
want
were
to take it.
indoctrinated.
Wait. And then he's like, no, it's totally fine. I'm daddy. And I say, it's okay. I want to treat you to a donut. It's like, we don't really feel
They're
like
more
it.
scared
We
of
don't even
mommy.
like it. They take it. They have one. They feel so bad. I had sent them lunch. You know, I had sent them like a romaine lettuce and a bunch of other snacks quickly thrown together.
Baba Ganoush.
Yes, they had dips and carrots and things. And apparently when he came back from getting another check for another house, he saw that they looked like rabbits in the back. They were like putting the romaine lettuce down their throats so quickly to purge the donut.
They were trying to purge.
But people listening right now might think that's a little extreme.
but
My
they were
children
allowed.
used to think your children were brainwashed.
But this is the deal. Let me tell you something.
Didn't my sons think you
They
were
were
brainwashed?
allowed to have we always had treats in the home. Always. We always had yummy stuff. And at Christmas time they had like organic sugar or whatever. But they were 13 and under they weren't allowed to make their own decision for sugar. I'm like, sorry, you don't eat sugar. We don't, over 13 you want to go to a party and have sugar? Fine, it's your problem. Have a headache.
But I would have to say you were not so extreme that you would rip it out of their mouths. Like if they went
Yes,
to a
she
little
was.
party, and like her children have had a little sugar here and there in
Yeah.
their lives. But
I wouldn't
so
rip
she's
it out of
not
their mouths.
so
But if it was in
psycho.
my house
Yeah.
and I found it in their drawer, I would take it and I would tell them I took it and I would
Yeah.
chuck it.
Yeah.
And yes.
So what
It's
you're
not gonna
saying?
be in our house.
So we
Yeah.
have talked about it. Your children are beating mine with their crunchiness right now.
Well, Autumn's pretty jolly crunchy.
I mean,
What
they're
it
making
makes up for
breast
them
milk
all.
lattes. They're
What it
beating
makes up
everyone.
for several of your partly their ones, I would say. But yeah, but
I could go on and on about the others, but we won't.
They're younger.
Is
though.
breast milk
Vision
latte,
and Getty, they're all into
girls?
Yeah,
we need
yours
to-
are very. I'd say like, hey, people could say, okay, I'll let you speak. People could say, and my children used to say, Serene's children are brainwashed, okay, and she was super strict. But I do have to say, let's look at the results.
What?
Her children love healthy food. They're raising their own children and healthy food. So I think you did it with strictness, yes, but you did it with love, and you must have done it in a way where your passion came
They
across.
didn't want to rebel.
They didn't want to rebel, but I don't know if it was just that, Serene, because when you're of age, you can go out. That wouldn't
No,
be
that's what I'm
rebelling at
trying
a
to
certain
say.
point. It
No.
would just be making your own decisions.
No, but what I'm trying to say is they didn't feel like, oh, I want to go out and eat. all, yeah.
Right. Because I think they sensed a passion and a love, and you made foods delightful, and you loved foods. And I think they caught that love. Would you say that's true, Arden? People can't see you, but...
Arden,
Why don't you come here?
Yeah, come and
Come
talk, come on.
Come and...
are you gonna squeeze between
Yes,
auntie
squeeze
and
between
mommy?
And take that. Oh, this is good. Oh, 'cause
Look
we're
at him.
speaking for you.
Mr. Breast Milk Latte
No, he-
himself.
It's not me. It's actually to add on that.
Hold on, wait till you get the mic.
Oh, man, I can't do it, dude.
Look how big this dude is. How tall are you, Arden?
6'5".
6'5". Good grief.
No, I was laughing in the background because to add on that, before Cedar was married, I was making some
Don't look at
jokes
the
that-
camera.
Oh yeah, I forget now.
Yeah, look.
Before
To,
Cedar was married, I
focus
was
on
making
me.
some jokes, and I was joking with him, and he was like, "I'll never drink breast milk," and now I was just laughing so hard because
Yes, he's the latte man.
He's Mr. Latte Man.
But what I was gonna say, so your stricty mum, who I used to be like, Serene, you're so
Yeah.
strict. But I have to kind of give kudos to her now, and I would say, did it feel strict, or did it just feel like she was passionate?
there were some parts of it that kind of felt strict, but overall we developed a love for it, and I really didn't notice that and appreciate that until I went through what I went through.
And for
then-
those who are new in the room, you went through stage 4 cancer.
went through cancer 7 years, and during that whole ordeal, I developed a huge love for healthy food and appreciation for what Mom had taught us over the years. And to tell you a donut story as well, we snuck over to Nana's house. Granddad got like provision food. I guess he'd go to like Kroger's and get like the almost out of date donuts and breads, and he'd give it to like the homeless and stuff. Well, Bowen and I would go over to Nana and Granddad's and we'd steal some donuts. Well,
Yes.
before we could, and so I'd go over to Nana's, steal a couple donuts. I had a couple. I felt sinful, like going home and have to look Mom in the face. and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey,
Oh, you didn't
I
want to
ate
tell your mom.
I ate this.
You could have just
my
sucked on them and spit them
goodness.
out. Did you know this, Serene?
He's like at his head. He's like, this podcast is going in bad places.
Oh, he finally confessed.
I did. I was talking to her about it like last weekend or something.
Okay, so our other sister, Vange, I'm thinking all of these generations that are coming from our Nana, though. This is really not because of us. The way, you raise your daughter now with healthy food, and you and Esther. I mean, Esther wrote a cookbook for us. But what was I going to say? I was going to say our Nana and our sister Vange. She had 10 children. All of them crunchy.
Freaking healthy.
I mean, This
But
is this
the
is
funny
all
thing is, I
stemming
remember
from
arguing with like Bowen and Rocky and some of Anti-Evangelist sons, and we were all arguing like our moms are healthier than your moms. Instead of like my dad's your dad's boss,
yeah.
it was like my mom's healthier than your mom. Like
you probably would have won.
So Arden, you got serious and took it more personally about eating right when you were
Yeah.
going through cancer.
Yeah, I did. No, I appreciated, like, I loved a good home cooked meal, but I didn't really love it. Like, when I was like 16, I was like, Taco Bell, like, that's the place. As soon as I got my license, boom, gone.
Taco
Right?
Bell's.
No, but like now I haven't been at a fast food restaurant for like 8 years.
Yeah.
Really?
Because I don't love it. It's nasty.
Now what changed though? Did you feel better when you ate? Did you find your treatments responded better when you were eating good? What
No,
was
it
the
was-
switch?
Just the understanding that it's bad for you.
Okay.
And honestly, the understanding that it's not real food, it's fake food.
Yeah.
And then also over the years developing an interest in cooking and cooking healthy meals and understanding that actually tastes better
Right.
than
He's a great
Yeah.
cook. He's an amazing.
You know, that's such a great point is that, you know, once you break the sugar and the chemical, because there's
and
chemicals.
I will say when I first got diagnosed, we were talking and I didn't have a lot of sugar and wheat in the house, but when I got married and out of the house, I had sugar and wheat every now and then. We had bread and stuff. And I was like, how am I going to not have bread, like wheat and bread and sugar just as like snacks and stuff like that, ice cream and whatnot. And just over the years developing like, oh, I actually don't even need that. I don't need that
Yeah.
to survive at all. I can
Yeah.
But I
survive
guess things
perfectly
really
without it.
change. Your whole the reason why you're doing things changes when you're fighting for your life. So.
Yeah, well, I was telling somebody just a couple days ago that they were complaining that their kid wasn't into health food. I'm like, really, they have to experience it. They have to experience it. Now, I'm not saying that they need to experience a life-threatening event, but just experience something that turns them in the direction of health.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I was having severe gut issues and they were
Yeah.
mixed with anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, which came first? But yeah, you can have anxiety without cause, you know, or the cause could be your diet.
Yeah.
I think a lot of my anxious spiking and crashing was totally diet related.
And also, you know, Arden. No,
Get
no,
outta
I was just
here.
going to
No,
say
kidding,
though,
kidding.
Arden, he was facing cancer. You can eat the best food in the world. It's a fallen world. You know, you can get a disease. It's more likely to get a disease if you're eating unhealthy. But you know, he knows the source of his issue, and he had Roundup fall over all the area of his neck. It was an accident at a site that he was working at, and he was out of state traveling and going to the next motel, so he couldn't shower till about 7 hours later, and so that was the cause.
That's another story for another time.
We're going to tell your full story one day.
well, yeah, definitely.
So it was a Roundup cancer.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, even on TV now, they're like, if you've been exposed to Roundup and got cancer, call this number.
Are you
But yeah,
serious?
I mean, this happened to this guy right here.
Comes from the Roundup, yeah.
That is so. I mean, people spray Roundup even next door. I mean, you can't
You
even.
have no idea the hatred I have for chemicals. So like, put the food and health thing on one side, and then on the
Yeah.
other side you can put chemicals.
Chemicals.
Extreme chemical freaks.
So, are you cautious with? I mean, when you're putting polyurethane, fixing a
I don't
table.
do anything. If I'm doing anything with any chemical, I have to have a full hazmat suit.
Yeah.
I have to have goggles, glasses, gloves,
That's how I am.
mask, everything.
I changed the chlorine in my pool the other day, and I could smell chlorine on my hand, and I was just like, "This hand's getting cancer." Like I had to like wash, and I could still smell the. I'd wash it. I'd still smell chlorine. I'd wash it again.
I don't
But then-
swim in chlorine pools. Like
You
I
don't
really
even-
don't. No,
Well, then I was washing it, and I was like, "What's in this soap? It's no better than the chlorine." And
What?
then it
You
was
don't
like,
have our Trim Healthy soap? Oh my goodness, it's so good.
I every now and again will indulge in a bar of.
Hug in the mic.
No, it's good.
But Arden, because of the cancer
it,
and stuff, like, will you use even regular shaving cream or something? Or
No, I don't actually. So
you're
all
chemical
the
free.
soaps,
You're
all my
chem-free,
shampoo,
yeah.
everything's chemical free. No parabens, no
all
phthalates,
THM products.
Some of them, yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
get a
We
discount?
don't
or
have
no?
a man. We have friends and family. You get a discount, you blighter. He gets the same discount as you.
Same discount.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
I
talk
might-
about
I
it
might
later.
get like
No,
a little bit better.
Okay.
'Cause, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was good though. I'm glad we actually pulled you over here
Yeah.
just to hear the real truth.
You know, I think it's worth whatever. Like, even 10 years ago, cost was still, and for some people, I guess cost is still a big deal, but even the poor, like I felt like I was the poorest amongst us.
I would challenge that because people, it's honestly laziness, and I'm not trying to like hurt anyone's feelings. But if you really want to live a long and healthy life, some people don't really appreciate that, and they like the idea of it, but they're not willing to put in the work. And it's honestly a lot easier just because you eat healthy for a period of time, you actually become a healthy person, have more energy, and then it becomes easier along the way.
I find too, I eat less meals. Like when I'm eating bad, I'm hungry in 2 hours. You know, like you talk about Taco Bell.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you know, I've got teens. There'll be maybe a once a year run for the border, right? Amen. You know, because it'll be midnight, nothing's open, and my kids are like, "Dad, please, we don't want to die on your couch," and I'm just like, "Come on," and I mean, it is like ravenously addictive food, like Taco Bell.
Well, it took me a while to break those chains. It's just like addicted to. I used to love like when I got out of the house and going to not my grandmother on my mom's side, but grandmother on my dad's side. She had chimichangas and like microwave stuff, and I was like, those were the bee's knees, and like they were great. But then realizing
Mama's not looking.
But just realizing that actually wasn't good.
Yeah, well, you're hungry 2 hours later. That's what I was going to say about Taco Bell. Like, so in the same way, if you make food like that, you throw a microwave burrito, for example. Sounds convenient. Who has time? It's like you got to do it like every hour and a half to 2 hours. And
well, you're probably not getting enough protein.
For instance, like my brother-in-law lives. So my wife's brother lives with us. He rents a bedroom up in the top floor of our house, and love the guy, great guy. But I've been trying to like pour into him like eat healthy, and he's always challenging me. Like he's 19, 20 years old, and he's always challenging me like, oh, I'm a big rooster here. I'm the head of the house, kind of trying to like joke around, but he's like, I'm stronger than you are. And I'm like, okay, I don't really care about doing this right now. But I'm like, whenever we get into a tussle, he's always out of breath and he eats terrible food.
Right.
And I don't let him have this food in my house, but he never eats he doesn't eat breakfast because he'll just go out and go eat something.
Yeah.
And he'll eat dinners with us occasionally, but he just eats terrible food and he's always out of energy. Always. And he's always completely tired, always sore, always cracking like a freaking Rice Krispie.
But do you think, I think it is a little difference, if I could be a little stereotypical with young men and young women. I mean, it's not always the case, but like my girls have definitely gravitated to the crunchy thing more than my sons, although my sons are kind of halfway there and they work out. So they've got that part of it. But for men in general, oftentimes it has to be something that happens to them, or they're faced with the decision, hey, if you don't, you're going to be faced with this medication, or you're going to die, or you're going to have this disease.
I do feel like, though, there can be the fact that they learn to love a nostalgic comfort food, and if that nostalgic comfort food is healthy, they'll always be cool with that. Like they may love to run to the border and do the Taco Bell, but my son's always loved my homemade bread, my sourdough bread.
Well, and I will say, like for Vision and Cedar, they haven't experienced a life-threatening or event or any kind of sickness like I have, and they are without a doubt, they're a lot healthier. Than I was at their age. Yeah, I'm healthier than they are, like as far as eating foods, and I cheat I don't cheat near as often as they do, but they're on the regular healthy.
Do you ever, after all these, how long have you been absolutely pure with your food?
I take that back. So I generally try to stay away from sugar and wheat. There's occasional times, like once or twice a year, where I'll go to like Indian restaurant and I'll have some naan. Oh, but that's.
But you have to have naan at an Indian restaurant, don't you?
But I won't. I refuse to get like store bought like naan or anything like that. It has to be like fresh.
An
naan.
Event.
Yeah. If it's at a good restaurant, I like a small piece of artisan bread, like with some garlic butter. I can't help myself.
No, but I think that's just vitamin P pleasure.
Yeah.
And
vitamin
it's just
P.
enjoying life.
I'm big into that, and I'm like you guys said, I'm a huge foodie. I love good, awesome, really good food. So it's not worth it to me unless it's really good.
Yeah,
but you've
yeah.
been years because you had to. You were fighting for your
Yeah.
life, for your very life.
Yeah.
But
We don't have sugar or wheat in our house at all.
so,
Now-
so this is my question to you though, because even it happens to me occasionally when usually I just drive past Dunkin' Donuts and it says nothing to me. It's just quiet, and then occasionally it will call to me, Pearl. You want coffee and a jelly donut?
like
you
the-
do.
the-
you
the
do,
ring
you
from
do,
Lord
you
of the
do, you
Rings.
do,
Yeah.
You do, you do.
Screaming, screaming in there. Like it's like
No,
a
I-
repulsive haunted house.
I know
to
it
me.
never calls to you, Serene. Does it call anything
It
call
doesn't.
to you?
It does,
No.
Not fast food and not anything like that. I'll get like the more like actual authentic. If it's made at a restaurant, like by
Yeah.
a good chef,
Chef made.
I'll probably
yeah.
get some like whispers there. But I'm on mom's side where like if I'm passing by like something fast food or it's like some smaller podunk place, I'm like, ew.
Pearl.
It's like clown show.
Pearl, what's the go-to donut that fills
Okay.
you with regret?
It doesn't fill me with regret. Here's
No?
why.
You don't feel sick?
Because if I do it, it is probably twice a year, and I
In
tell
a different
myself,
country.
maybe.
Mexico.
Yeah,
no,
when you
but
travel,
they don't have
right?
Dunkin' Donuts in Mexico that I know of. No, it appeals to me here in Dixon, Tennessee.
Oh, back to
Yes.
Dixon.
The real Dunkin'.
Back
Yeah,
to
the
Dixon.
real Dunkin' Donut, a jelly donut. It's from my
Jelly?
in New Zealand. They had jelly donuts,
Like a strawberry jelly
yes,
donut?
So, it doesn't make me feel regret or shame or anything because I'm not doing it all the time. Occasionally, I'll just say, "Pearl, that's your vitamin pleasure. Quite twice a year. That's fantastic. I enjoy every bit of it." But if it starts appealing to me and whispering a lot, I mean, there's a method. You go to the grocery store and you get some protein. You shove it in your mouth, and it just shuts.
Just shut it
up.
down.
Shuts it up.
There is a dessert.
Rotisserie chicken. Put it in your mouth.
Oh, that's
Or you
hard to
better
do.
than that. And when you go to the
Blueberries.
grocery store, you have your little doctor's bag, which is what I have.
You got
my
your
little black
keeper.
satchel. It's like a little
Really?
tiny cooler, and I have my yum in there. I have walnuts. I have
Survival
all
kit.
kinds of stuff.
Face it, because her voice is
Oh
gonna.
yeah. So I have walnuts and all kinds of things. And I have my doctor's bag, which it wouldn't scream to me anyway. But
No, it
it's
wouldn't.
just if I'm hungry.
Do you always keep a survival kit with you?
Oh yeah, always a food survival kit. It's my doctor's bag.
See,
My
I
wife
don't.
tried to send me with a survival kit of tuna and stuff, and I couldn't fit it on my motorcycle, and I'm starving now that we're talking about
Oh,
food
yeah.
on this podcast.
Yeah, because you always used to have your black bag, your backpack with all your little Danny.
Your RX
Yeah,
bars.
it's my little neurodiverse pack.
Yeah.
It's for neurodiverse Danny. Have you heard that phrase, neurodiversity?
no.
No, but I can
imagine.
imagine what it means. Neuro and the brain waves, and diverse meaning
moody,
in
you
different.
change.
It just means they're talking about people who are not on the what we would call the normal spectrum.
Okay, but
They
who
are-
is normal, eh?
Well, but that's the thing. They're saying that 20% of the population is neurodiverse. But once you get to 20%, I mean, that's
Yeah.
a borderline a fourth of
it's
the
like
world.
it's like the MTHFR mutations. They call it mutation, but over 50% of us have them. So how is it a mutation?
Exactly. So why is this abnormality
Yeah,
that needs
I know.
diagnosed, which is what we're working on.
Is your arm getting tired
Yeah,
doing
you don't have
it?
to.
Isn't that the worst job ever to hold a
invited you on the
microphone?
show.
It's a little workout. It's like,
Well, we're 44 minutes in, but
Um,
how do we round it all up? Speaking to the first gen crunchies.
Don't say round up.
Well, I know that yeah, don't say round up. But Arden's little girl, Gethsemane, I call her Gwethy. It's amazing. It must be kind of into her DNA through Arden because she was born loving to taste my yuck yums. Like the grosser and greener and wackier and more bitter they were, like the more crazy things I put in it, when she was just starting to pull up on the couch, she would go ballistic for them.
she loves them. I gotta say, she loves mom's crazy health foods, my crazy health foods. She'll even go we'll be out and she's like, no, we don't eat that. That's yucky. That's yucky. We don't eat that, Daddy.
nice.
That's bad for you.
Her DNA is Chinese too, because her mum's fully Chinese.
Yeah.
And so she, as soon as she could have teeth in her mouth to chew, whole sushi was going in there.
Isn't
was
that interesting?
That's birthday cake to her.
Yeah, it follows the ethnicities, like your taste for stuff. Like you
raw,
said, Cherish
like
is,
raw salmon and all that.
Oh, she loves
Wow.
it. She loves
Wow.
and yet Cherish is into soul food.
Oh yeah, man.
Like-
it's in her DNA.
It's just
Yeah.
Where I have to if we have she loves mom's sourdough toast, but she'll sometimes she'll just scarf it up and then sometimes she'll just pick at it, and you know how kids do. Whenever we're around sushi, I don't have to convince her to eat anything. She's it's like
So you and
Yeah.
sushi, well, let me figure this out. Because to me, sushi, if I eat sushi, I don't mind. I just consider the white rice. I don't have an issue. I'll get brown rice if it's there, but if it's white rice, I don't like freak out. Like, is that the way you are? Or
Yeah, so I like my normal meals. I like to stay
Yeah.
away from white rice. I'll have it occasionally. I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
Occasionally, sushi.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yes,
what
I
about
don't eat it
black
every
rice
meal, so-
sushi?
Oh, I love black rice.
But black rice sushi.
I haven't
I've
had
never
it.
seen
I
it.
think that's a travesty. You
Oh,
gotta
do
have just
you?
normal.
You're
It has to be
sushi.
classic. Like
Oh,
just
okay.
good white
You
rice.
don't,
black
you don't
rice
get
sushi would
our
be-
Kroger in Dixon,
The brown rice,
Tennessee.
and it's delicious.
Brown rice sushi is so good.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't like brown rice sushi from Kroger.
Oh, the Kroger
Any
he is
Kroger
a
sushi.
Japanese chef,
Oh,
and
yeah,
he
he's great.
stands there and makes
Okay,
it
well,
right
you have a
there.
special
and
guy
he's
at your
incredible.
He's got a special Japanese name.
Serene is
No,
dissing
see,
Dixon,
you-
Tennessee with
Yamakoto or
Coca-Cola
something.
in
Oh,
the
he's
bottles,
gotta
but
be
it
full
can,
Yama.
it makes some good sushi.
My guy, he looks Japanese, but you talk to him, he's got a country accent. That'll blow your mind.
Well, I tell my wife and I tell all the guys I work with, I'm like, hey, if you go into a restaurant, like a Mexican restaurant, and there's just some podunk guy and he's not Mexican making food, I don't eat there.
It's not
If I
the
go to a
right spot.
Japanese restaurant,
And they're not
You
Japanese.
better at least
you
look
have to have
Japanese.
authentic
Yeah.
people making the correct food.
Now his wife though, she goes to a different level of.
Oh,
sushi.
so
She
you
doesn't
got
even
hold on, start
Yeah.
again.
So yeah, Esther, his wife, she's even a level above the normal sushi lover. She orders just the thick pieces of the raw salmon on the globs of the rice with no the seaweed
yeah.
around. It's like the real
Yeah, she just
shishi-
like
sashimi.
salmon nigiri. It's just like with that little bit of rice and
Watch
that
your mouth.
salmon.
Well, my daughter-in-law's Japanese, and she loves to get the eel and all of that.
Ooh.
No, not
Eel
me.
sauce is not even like an eel. You know, I thought like an eel would come out of the bottle or something, but it's just like sweet sauce.
Yeah. But we're good. We didn't round down.
Calm.
Can you do your trumpets of the ending? You know how you were like, I wish the other day when I was not here, I wish that there was some kind of trumpet to, and you did that little noise because that was
Hey,
appropriate.
Mike.
and
By
now
the way,
have
you're gonna
to-
have a job
A
now
trying
you
to
noise?
have
bring
to
her
do
voice
your,
up.
your ending trumpets.
I need an actual trumpet.
Yeah. Well, you didn't. You did it before. Remember, he was doing his.
No.
That
You
would
don't
be
remember
cool
that?
if I actually closed the podcast with a trumpet.
Well, then do it and let's
Like-
go.
Like I had a real instrument.
Oh no.
And it was
Oh,
how
you
we
voiced
closed
that
down.
instrument. You did it at the beginning.
We're
of the
good.
podcast.
Bye.
Cha 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 cha